Okay. All right, I've restarted the record, excuse me, in particular with regard to Nevaeh in petition 2. We have Ms. Castleman. My understanding is that you have some proofs that you'd like to present in addition to the exhibits that have been identified.
That is correct.
All right. Who are you calling as a witness?
I'm going to call Kristen Kozowski.
Ms. Kozowski, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You can lower your hand. Please state your name and spell your last name.
Kristen Kozowski, K-O-S-O-S-K-Y.
Ms. Castleman, go ahead.
All right, Ms. Kozowski, are you familiar with the case involving Nevaeh Smith?
In regard to Nevaeh Hassan?
Nevaeh Hassan, sorry.
Yes, I am.
All right, how are you familiar with that case?
I was assigned the case in 2020. I am the foster care worker.
All right, and can you tell me how Nevaeh's been doing?
Nevaeh is placed with her maternal aunt and she's doing well. She does have some significant speech in speech delays as well as some reflex and balance issues. She is involved in speech therapy as well as occupational therapy at this time. We are trying to engage her in counseling. However, we made a referral and to whom we made the referral changed agency. So now we have to look for another counselor for her. So that is a service that she will be in just due to the lack of consistency with parenting time between her mom and herself as in her behaviors that come out of that. She's very confused, doesn't understand what's going on. So therapy would be very beneficial for her.
How old is Nevaeh?
She is 6.
Okay, so has she been in care the majority of her life?
She came into care in February of 2019. So she was 3. Yep.
All right, and how long has she been placed with the maternal aunt?
Since removal.
Okay. And do you believe that that placement is in the child's best interest?
I do.
And can you tell me about the bond between the child and the maternal aunt?
Nevaeh refers to her maternal aunt as mom. She also has 2 siblings, or the maternal aunt has 2 children that she has in her home. Nevaeh thinks of them as her brother and sister. They have a close bond. They're often seen hugging. She shows affection towards her when I would pick Nevaeh up for parenting time. She would tell her, "I love you, Mom. I'll see you later." They appear to have a very close, strong bond.
So Nevaeh calls her mom?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell me about the parents' participation or non-participation in services during
So
those 90 days?
Can you, in the last what? I'm sorry. I missed that.
Sorry, strike that. Can you just tell me about their participation?
Okay. So the father, Tyler Kraft, has been a non-participant for the whole case. He's not been able to be located. As far as Angelina, since January of 2021, she has shown lack of participation with services. She is involved in counseling through Family House Center with Deb Shower. She was to be seen weekly due to her emotional stability. She was not attending those appointments. So the counselor did have to turn to bi-weekly appointments for her to use those time slots for other individuals. Still, Miss Fagina was not attending those appointments. She has had 8 scheduled, which she should have had more than 8, and only attended 4 of those. The missed ones, she did not call to notify the counselor that she missed, and she often did not reschedule her appointments in a timely fashion that she missed. She is prescribed Celexa. She has been out of her medication multiple times and has not requested assistance in obtaining those medication, which is of great concern due to her emotional stability. There have been multiple parenting times that she has missed during this reporting period. She does report that it's due to her work schedule. She works until 4 p.m. daily, so we have made her parenting times from 5 to 6. However, due to her canceling those on short notice, we have moved to where she needs to be at our agency by 4:45 p.m. To be there in person before we go get the children. And then we transport the children to the office. This just helps us so that the children are, they're not getting upset because they're expecting a parent time. We get them to the office and their mother doesn't show up because that had happened on multiple occasions. So a lot of inconsistencies with that. As well as some lack of engagement with the workers when I know that you're aware that there is another case regarding another one of her children. So that worker from Battle Creek DHS and I, we do coordinate so that we can do our appointments on the same day so that we're not impeding most of Ms. Falgino's schedule. However, on multiple occasions, she has canceled with us last minute as well.
Oh, go ahead.
Nope, I'm done.
Okay. Are there other services that Angelina is expected to do?
So I did make a referral to the Resiliency Center project through WMed. So what that looks at is the parent-child bond and helps with some parenting skills because that is one thing that is identified for Ms. Falgino. She had an appointment on April 29th for an assessment. She did arrive 30 minutes late due to sleeping in. So she was late to that appointment. I have not been able to get in touch with the person who did the assessment. Her name is Maggie. We played phone tag last week, but I know that the assessment has not been written up yet and that it's being worked on. I don't have any other information on that at this time. As for services, those are the only services that she's being offered or attending at this time.
Are there any services she has not been participating in that you asked her to?
Her counseling. She is not participating to her fullest in that. And that is a big part of her treatment plan is to attend her counseling, build those coping skills, strategies for her anxiety and depression. And she's failing to do that.
How has the bond between Angelina and Nevaeh suffered due to the missing parenting times?
So I think, in my opinion, from observations, Nevaeh during those times is she's very needy, gets upset very easily, wants her to gauge her mom's attention. And those are, the things that I've seen progress since January, whereas the bond was different and Nevaeh would listen and respond effectively to Angelina's direction. Now we're not seeing that as much.
Have you observed visits?
I have, yes.
Okay. And how many of the visits would you, like not a number, but how many percentage-wise would you say you observed?
Since I received the case, I would say 50% of the visits. I used to be the supervisor of the visits at least once per week.
Okay. And what is the department recommending at this time for Nevaeh?
At this time, we're recommending a goal change for adoption for Nevaeh at this time.
Is Miss Edson, what is the name of the maternal aunt?
Elizabeth Edson.
And is she willing to adopt Nevaeh?
Yes, she is.
And why is that? Why is adoption important for Nevaeh at this time rather than 3 months from now?
It would provide Nevaeh permanency. She's been like we said, or like I said earlier, she's been in care since February of 2019. She needs some stability in her life so that she can move forward and be successful. She's very conflicted and going through a lot, being having her mom in and out of her life.
And is Nevaeh in therapy right now, or have you talked to a therapist that's worked with her?
She's not in therapy right now. We are seeking that out for her.
Okay. And has any of the professionals that is working with her, have any of them suggested that adoption be the option here?
They have not.
Okay. So why not give Angelina another 3 months to try to comply with services instead of change to adoption now? Why do you think that it's essential now?
So, like I said, Nevaeh's been in care since February of 2019. Ms. Fagino has had an ample amount of time to participate in services. And this is kind of a pattern that we've seen where she's participated in services and then she falls off and stops participating in services and she regresses. So this is a pattern we've seen over the 2 years that Nevaeh has been in care, and there's been no consistency with her. So I don't see where giving mom another 3 months would be beneficial. Nevaeh has a significant amount of needs with speech therapy and occupational therapy. Mom is unable to attend her appointments and parenting times with the children on a regular basis. So that leaves me with the question of, is she going to be able to get Nevaeh to these appointments? Is she gonna be able to provide for these needs that Nevaeh is gonna have? And it's looking like Nevaeh may have some longer term needs with the speech therapy and occupational therapy that I do not feel that mom is ready to do.
Do you believe that Nevaeh is being harmed by that back and forth pattern?
I do.
Okay. All right. I don't have any further questions.
Sackrider, any questions from Ms. Kosowski?
Yes, just a few. What were Ms. Fogino's barriers at the time Nevaeh came into care?
So barriers when she came into care were housing, emotional stability, domestic relations, so her relationships with others. So those were her barriers when Nevaeh came into care.
So housing, emotional stability, and what was the other one? Domestic
And parenting skills, domestic relations. So unhealthy relationships.
And as it relates to Ms. Fogino's housing, appropriate housing.
She does have appropriate housing.
All right. When was the last time you visited her house?
I was at her home on the 6th, I believe, of this month, May 6th.
Okay. So she has overcome that barrier.
She has been able to maintain that housing. However, she does have a roommate there. So in the event that Nevaeh would return, the roommate and the baby that are living there would need to leave the residence.
Okay. Did you speak with her about that?
We have spoken with her. We are needing to do background on the individual that is living in the home, which we have been unable to do. However, on multiple occasions, we have talked to Ms. Fagino about allowing other people to live in her home. And on multiple occasions, she has brought people into her home and allowed them to live there without notifying us of such. So, and we've found this out when we show up for visits and there's other people in the bedrooms of the home.
Okay. Was there a time when you were recommending return of Nevaeh to Ms. Fogino's care?
There was a time at which we were moving towards reunification, I believe, and I don't know the exact date. I want to say it was around like December or January, where Ms. Fogino had made great progress with her housing, with her emotional stability. She was attending counseling. She was able to maintain her housing. And then there were some incidents that occurred in those months that raised concern for the department.
All right, what were those incidents?
Ms. Fogino started not attending her therapy sessions. She was not taking her medication regularly. She also, when we moved to unsupervised visits, the DHS worker for her son, Kyron, the foster care worker, arrived at the home to observe the parenting time that was unsupervised. And when she arrived, there was two males in the home at the time of the visit, when Miss Fogino was aware that nobody was to be attending her parenting times. So there was concerns that she was allowing individuals in her home. She often did not know their last names. And she did not see it as an issue to have those individuals in her home. There was also, when we held a meeting following that incident, we held a meeting with the DHS foster care workers, myself and my supervisor. Ms. Fogino did report that she had been sleeping with men for money. One of the men that she was sleeping with, not necessarily for money, but was sleeping with, was one of the individuals that was present at that parenting time. So those were definite concerns for us at the time.
All right. Do you have any evidence that Ms. Fogino left Nevaeh alone at any time?
I don't.
Okay. All right. As it relates to your referral to the Resiliency Center, what was that referral made for?
It was to look at, it was for parenting. I know that last time we were in court, we talked about referring her to this program to assess parenting skills and look at the bond between Angelina and Nevaeh. However, at this time, Nevaeh does not qualify for the program. However, they were able to see Ms. Fogino to do an assessment on her. So we were looking at that. However, I have not got the assessment back yet. That was on 4/29, and they are working on that still.
All right. Do you think that would help Ms. Fogino?
I think that it would identify and have some recommendation for us. However, I do not believe at this time that Ms. Fogino will follow through with those services. She has a lack of participation at this time for counseling and her medication and parenting time that I do not believe that she will follow through just due to her history, recent history.
She showed up for the assessment.
She did. She was a half hour late. It was at 1:30 in the afternoon, and she reported that she had overslept.
So why not allow another reporting period to implement suggestions of this assessment?
So at this time, in looking at, at the bigger picture, Nevaeh has significant needs: speech therapy, occupational therapy, schooling. Ms. Fogino has a hard time attending any appointments right now. And the concern is that she's not going to be able to meet Nevaeh's needs if Nevaeh were to be returned home.
All right. What is your testimony in regards to the bond between Nevaeh and Ms. Fogino?
They have a significant bond. That's apparent. They do have a bond. However, that, bond is threatened by Ms. Fogino not attending her parenting times and not attending her services to address her emotional stability so she can be there for her children.
Is it true that Nevaeh would cry when she left parenting times?
That is true. She
With her
does
mother.
cry on occasions. Yes.
Is that because she wants to remain with her mother?
She doesn't like to leave her mother and her brother after parenting times. She does often throw a fit and throws herself on the floor. And that is due to they do have a significant bond, but I'm not a therapist or such, but I do believe that Nevaeh often fears when she's going to see her mom again when she leaves because she does not know.
You testified that Ms. Fogino is prescribed medication and that she has at times not taken her medications. How do you know that?
She's reported it to myself and to the Calhoun County DHS foster care worker.
All right. And what did you do to address those concerns?
We do have a plan with her that if she, prior to running out of medication, if she cannot afford her medication, she is to contact one of us and we will help and aid in her to get her medication. I've also offered to pick up her medication. The last time that she got it filled, she told me she'd pick it up the next day. And on the 6th, when we met with her, she reported that she ended up not picking it up for a couple of weeks.
Okay. And why was she having issues with that?
She could not afford her medication, is what she reported.
Okay. Does she also have issues with transportation?
She does, yes. She does take Uber and the bus. So she does have the bus provided to her. Kalamazoo County's buses are free at this time. So that is not an issue.
Okay. She was employed through much of this past year.
Yes, she was employed.
All right. She noted to me on multiple occasions about working with her work schedule.
Yes.
Your testimony was that she failed to communicate, and so you changed parenting time to that she had to appear at Family and Children Services. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did she need to drive to get there?
She takes the bus.
Okay. And did she ever express concerns about that?
About taking the bus, no. About her work schedule and not getting out at her allotted time, she did report that.
Okay. And did you work around that?
We did work around it. She's to be off work at 4, so we had parenting time at 5 to 6. When she was not calling us to let us know that she wasn't going to make it because of work, sometimes she'd confirm the day of, but then she wouldn't show up for the parenting time. So we did change it to where she had to appear at the agency at 4:45 p.m. So that she was there before we went and got the kids and confirmed with the foster parents. And that this was a big conversation that we did have, because as a parent, you still have that responsibility. If your work schedule is 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., that's a conversation that, we urged her to have with her boss, explain to them how important it was that she was able to attend her parenting times at 5 p.m., that she was out on time from work. She reported that she works every day. However, she has not provided us with a pay stub or a schedule.
Since 2019, did she ever complete any parenting classes or obtain any certificates?
She did complete a parenting class, and she had I believe it was a parent support worker. So it's a parent support visitation program, and she did complete that.
She has engaged in services. Is that correct?
She has engaged in services, yes.
Has she benefited from any of those services?
At the time, the parenting support program, I believe that she did. However, at this time, I don't think that she's taken those skills that she's learned and used them in her parenting time or in her everyday life.
Mr. Sacramento, let me pause you for just a moment. I've got people in the waiting room for the 10:30. I'm going to bring them in and tell them that we're finishing this one up, and then I'll let you restart again.
Okay.
All right. Just so you folks know, I'm in the middle of finishing up an earlier hearing. I wanted to make sure you guys all knew for the 10:30 that I know that you're here on time. But I'm going to pop you back into the waiting room for a moment, finish up my earlier hearing, and then I'll bring you back into your hearing.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
All right. Okay. So, Mr. Sackrider, back to you. Any other questions?
Do you think it's in the best interest of Nevaeh to have a relationship with her mom?
Ideally, it's in the best interest of any child to have a relationship with their parent, but at this time, I feel that a goal change to adoption is in her best interest.
All right. What is the risk of harm?
The risk of harm is that Ms. Fagino does not exhibit the abilities to appropriately care and provide Nevaeh with the needs that she has. We have a child that has significant speech delays, she needs to attend occupational therapy for reflex and balance issues. And we have a parent that has a hard time just attending parenting times with the child. And has not been able to balance her work life with her children's life. That is the risk to Nevaeh. She does not have, Ms. Fagino does not exhibit those parenting skills. There's a great concern if Nevaeh were to be placed back with Ms. Fagino, that Nevaeh would not get the services that she needs. And that Ms. Fagino is not addressing her emotional stability at this time.
Is it your understanding that the goal is reunification for her other child, Kyron, at this time?
That is my understanding.
Okay, so why is it appropriate in that case?
So the father in that case has been able to exhibit and been able to reduce the barriers that led Kyron into care. Kyron's father has full, I believe it's full physical, and they share joint legal. However, they are working on that through his case, that he have full physical and legal custody of Kyron. So he will be placed in his father's care, not in his mother's care.
All right, I have no further questions.
All right, Ms. Castleman, any other proofs at this time?
Just briefly, are you asking for visits to be suspended at this time with Nevaeh?
I'm not.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions.
Mr. Sackrider, any proofs that you'd like to offer?
No, I have none.
All right, then, Ms. Castleman, any argument?
I would just leave the testimony. I think that what the department is asking for has been laid out, and ask you to take into consideration Ms. Wickham's perspective as well. I think that a goal change is warranted here.
All right, Mr. Sackrider, any argument from your standpoint?
Yes, we would ask that the goal remain reunification. That Ms. Fagino be given extra time to implement the results of her assessment that she just took in April, that she has made progress. She has participated in services. She does have appropriate housing, and that she has at one point had the recommendation of the department to have Nevaeh return to her care for unsupervised parenting time. We believe that continuation of services would help Ms. Fogino. And we ask that the request for a petition for adoption be denied. Thank you.
All right, I will note that I have carefully reviewed the exhibits that have been admitted with regard to petition 2. I will note I've listened to the testimony that's been offered today. I'm aware of the long-term history of this case, of petition 2 and petition 3, which are obviously related, at least in a small way. Based on all of that information, I'm going to make the following findings. First, that Nevaeh has been out of Ms. Fogino's care for 15 of the last 22 months. In fact, well over 15 of the last 22 months. I find that the department, through Family and Children's Services, has made efforts very specifically to address the potential for Ms. Fogino to be in the what we'll call the Hicks-Brown range, that would require additional services or an additional accommodation to be made for her. And I note that we gave another reporting period last time around with the specific finding that the compelling reason to do that was to enable additional services to be offered because there was a concern that Hicks-Brown might apply. And as I say, I find that those services were offered, that the special accommodations were made, and it hasn't made a difference. I do believe that it is appropriate to change the goal for Nevaeh to adoption, and I will direct that the department file a termination petition within 28 days of this order going into effect, changing the goal to adoption. At the same time, I will also continue to note that reasonable efforts toward reunification should be made, just in case Ms. Fogino does actually get it together. She has made progress, even significant progress on occasion in the past, and then fallen down and perhaps fallen apart. I note that the different goal in petition 3 is specifically because the father in that case, Mr. Kellerman, is making significant progress on his own, and not because of any progress that Ms. Fogino has made with regard to Kyron petition 3. So the next hearing with regard to petition 2 will be in front of judge. I don't have those dates right now. My staff will have to pull those dates and send them out to everyone in the mail. We have Ms. Edson here as the foster parent for Nevaeh. Ms. Edson, you've been with us for the entire hearing. Is there anything that you think needs to be added today, or anything you think we need to consider?
No, sir.
All right. I will remind everyone that they have 7 days to file an objection if they want the judge to review my decision.